I despise JD Vance. I hate the disingenuous way he talks. I hate his smug little smile, and I hate his fear-mongering over immigrants. And I am clearly not the only one, and I'm also not the only one at his speeches, because JD Vance was just heckled and booed mercilessly in the middle of a speech where he was trying to fearmonger, and he instantly crumbled. And we are going to check that out. Just such a therapeutic moment to see the worst vice president in history called out to his face. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Before we get into Vance, I want to first get a little bit of context on this awful argument he's trying to present by someone who called it out, and that's Jasmine Crockett right here.
Have been incredibly busy in Washington this week. You're a part of the House Oversight Committee. There was a hearing this week where the mayors of 4 so-called sanctuary cities were grilled. I want to play a very quick bit of something that you definitely had to share during that hearing. Take a listen.
Have any of you been made aware of any immigrant that has had 34 felony convictions that has still been able to roam around in your cities? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
I mean, Congresswoman, it's true. I just talked about the hypocrisy from the GOP. They're so quick to want to round up people on the streets. They don't really even bother to care, if they look brown or black or whatever, it's okay. But in this instance, you do have a 34 felony convicted felon that lives in the Oval Office. If they need the address, I'm happy to give it to them. But what is going on here in terms of trying to kind of exact some type of pressure and a pound of flesh out of these mayors?
Yeah, so first of all, shout out to all the mayors, and I am saying all the mayors. It was definitely interesting to listen to the mayor of New York, but nevertheless, I will say that the mayors as a whole, they really did kind of stand their ground against what they were attempting to do to them, and so I really do applaud them. They were coming up with baseless statistics on crime, and literally they brought the mayor of Boston, Mayor Wu, who is absolutely ranked as the safest large city in the country, and they were trying to lecture her on crime and immigrants. It was absolutely insane, and so that was why I brought out the hypocrisy, and to keep them from trying to come after me and say, oh, I'm engaging in personalities by talking about Trump, I did not mention his name. So I decided that I would work through or around the rules and make sure that I laid out that as they are so outraged by these immigrants and the crime that they're bringing, and not to mention city law enforcement, local law enforcement, they are always going after crime. And they don't say, oh, you committed a murder? Oh, but you're an immigrant? Well, let me let you go, right? So they are always focused on crime. They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. And so that's why I wanted to point out, don't give me this fake outrage about criminals roaming our streets when you guys stand 10 toes down for the biggest criminal that we have ever seen go into the White House.
MAGA is still trying to cry and whine and fearmonger over immigration, talk about all of these illegals, so many criminals, but they don't care about the criminal in the White House or the criminal in the White House who pardoned all the criminal cop-beating insurrectionists. They don't care about that. Oh, what a surprise. But like I said, someone at JD Vance's speech did, and they made sure that they were heard in calling him out. And we are going to check out that beautiful clip right here.
Because of their laws and regulations, they've seen a massive increase in the number of people who have come into their country. You go to the United Kingdom, you go across the world, and you see a very consistent relationship between a massive increase in immigration and a massive increase in housing prices. And we have to be honest about that. Well, I see one of our nice representatives out here wants to actually, I guess, continue to flood the country with illegal immigrants, making your communities and citizens unaffordable. But ma'am, with all respect, one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing is because we want to make it more affordable for Americans to live. That is one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. Now, last week, I visited the southern border, and we decided to check in on what's going on there at the southern border. And of course, like I said earlier, you often hear about immigration enforcement as about crime and about drug trafficking, and that is a big part of it. I was at Eagle Pass, and I was talking to local border control.
He is just so gross and so slimy in his response. Oh, I guess this person wants more illegal immigration, all these criminals who are raising your costs, something JD Vance has never explained, how deflationary immigration is making housing prices more expensive when we have a housing sector held up by immigrants building houses in America, which makes them cheaper, JD. And this idea that there is some huge influx of immigrants taking all these jobs that Americans so desperately want, one is ridiculous. And of course, yes, it is deflationary. That is what immigration is. But JD Vance is just trying to pawn off the economic failures of the Trump administration on their favorite scapegoat, immigrants. That's their favorite thing to do. But JD, maybe people's pockets are hurting because of your boss's stupid tariffs. Maybe the economy is collapsing because he is the most chaotic, corrupt, and criminal president in our history. Maybe, JT, you trying to stop deflationary immigration, it is what caused inflation to pop back up, as your boss has already admitted. They know this to be the case. They know this to be true. They know that people are going to struggle when they cut Medicaid. They know they're going to struggle when they continue to cut government programs that house people, that feed them, that keep them healthy. That is what drives prices up, JD, not immigration. And someone who called out those costs that are being raised because of the Trump administration was Bernie Sanders right here.
And I want to explain for a moment what $880 billion in Medicaid means. It means that when in the midst of a health care crisis, millions of children will be thrown off of the health insurance they have. If you have a mom or a dad in a nursing home or somebody who may need nursing home, understand that 2 out of 3 people in nursing homes get there through Medicaid payments. Cut Medicaid, it's going to be harder to get people into nursing homes. Quality of care will deteriorate. We have 32 million people in community getting their health care at community health centers, something that I've worked very hard on, primary health care. 40% of the revenue for community health centers comes from Medicaid. Slash Medicaid, it'll be harder for millions of people to get the primary care, the dental care, the vision care that they need. We are not going to allow them to slash Medicaid in order to give tax breaks to the rich. Now, the reason we are in Warren, and we're in Kenosha, and we're in Altoona, is that all of these congressional districts have Republican members of Congress who won by a very slim vote. Your congressman is Mr. James, John James. Apparently you know Mr. James. So my request of Mr. James is very simple. You know, I'm from Vermont, and I am here doing a town meeting in Warren, Michigan. Mr. James, I think your constituents here in Warren would love to do a town meeting with you. And I think that town meeting should be respectful. People, he has the right to make his case, let him speak. You have the right to ask him questions. And I think the question that is most on people's minds is, why would any member of Congress vote for massive tax breaks for billionaires and then cut Medicaid, education, and nutrition? But Mr. Musk and Mr. Trump are not only going after Medicaid and nutrition programs, they're going after Social Security. I think I speak for every member of the Senate in telling you that we get calls every single day from seniors, people with disabilities saying, I am trying to reach Social Security, I got a problem, I want to talk to somebody. It's taken forever to do that. In fact, shamefully, some 30,000 people die every year waiting for an understaffed Social Security. They are way understaffed today to approve disability benefits. You got that? So people are sick, they're on disability, takes them forever to get their issue dealt with, and they die in between. What Musk and Trump are proposing are massive cuts to Social Security staffing, which would make it harder for people to get their claims addressed. That would mean more people will die. That is not acceptable. And I'll tell you what else they are trying to do. One of the honors of my Senate life was I chaired for a while the U.S. Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. And I'm very proud of that, and I had the opportunity to meet people, great veterans, not only from Vermont, but all over the country. And I think no matter what your political view may be, I think there is nobody or very few people in America who would disagree that when a man or a woman puts their lives on the line to defend us, we honor our commitments to those veterans.
That is the truth. That is the truth of the situation. It's none of the nonsense that JD Vance is trying to pitch, that JD Vance is trying to push his disgusting xenophobic narrative. God, I hate him. I don't like using that word, but sometimes I do. And in this situation, I really do. And it was good to see him get called out to his face. We need more of that. We need more good trouble. And we're going to make it every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.